part of the thing I do is I'll go in with bands that are doing their first record, and usually we use most of my equipment, and I'll help them get tones, and sometimes actually do the engineering part as well. But I want to use the band's equipment, and a good 50% of the time or higher, the scenario will be, I'll say, this guitar is, it's unacceptable for to record your record. And they'll go, what do you mean? I just got it at Guitar Center. It's brand new. I paid $1,200 for it. And what people fail to realize is, like, unless, with the exception of maybe Paul Reed Smith or one of those $8,000 retail Gibson custom shop guitars, the frets are not going to be level, so they're going to be buzzes everywhere. The intonation is probably going to be off. The height of the string above the first fret, the nut height, is probably going to be high or irregular. So if you tune the guitar up and you play an F chord, it's going to pull sharp, and there are going to be all kinds of issues. And most young bands utilize the whole guitar neck up and down. So you have to have a guitar that's literally race ready, Formula One race ready, to be able to handle that and remotely be in tune or sound good. And so the setup consists of intonation, the nut height. The most important thing on a guitar, I've seen people sell guitars because they think it's a bad guitar and get another guitar. And I don't think there really is a bad guitar. It's setup, and 90% of setup, or 80%, is the fretwork. And it's how the frets from the nut going all the way down to the body of the guitar gradually drop off evenly, so you can play, in a perfect world, you can play a note all the way up each string and never have a buzz. It always rings, bing, it has sustain and a note to it. If you can have that going on a guitar, it's going to extend the sweet spot of the guitar from the middle of the neck. It's going to extend it to the whole guitar, and it's going to drive an amp completely different. I've heard people say, well, what's the difference if it buzzes high up on the neck, because you're never going to play up there? Well, if it doesn't buzz high on the neck, what it does is it adds all kinds of what they call in the guitar magazines bloom and detail and magic when you're playing down here. That wouldn't be there. So when you hit, my theory is, my conclusion is that I don't care if it's a Les Paul or any kind of electric, hollow or solid, it should be as fun to play as a great acoustic when it's not plugged in. Because that means your action's great and your setup's great. So that guitar will drive an amp in a recording or live. The amp is going to be so much happier to get that signal that it's going to record. It's going to sound way more like the records you're trying to emulate, and it's going to do much more justice, to what you're trying to do. And so now, like I said, if I'll play guitar and I'll intonate it, if it's buzzing everywhere and the nut's off, and I'm going to say, this guitar, we can't record with this, it's unacceptable. You're going to have to play one of my guitars. And usually they'll play one of my guitars and they'll go, oh, wow, I can't believe the way this thing's ringing. And, every chord should ring out and acoustically, and it's extremely important.